What's up, Call of Duty fans? IHOLDSHIFT. Good to see you guys. Wrapping up all of Week 7 for you. Big shout-outs to those people that did come over to my Discord server after we promoted it yesterday. If you guys want to join, again, it's in the description below. We have a lot of fun little conversations, specifically talking about the games, but also things like betting odds and things of that nature. So if you want to join in the conversation, feel free to join us. Very casual, very cool, very hip, chic place to be. Let's go ahead and dig into the games today, though, as we've got a lot of decent ones to talk about. Well, I will actually say I should go backwards here. It's not going to be a long video. This was a very short day of games, mostly 3-0s across the board. Let's go ahead and just dig into it, take care of it while we have it. Let's start things off with FaZe versus Reciprocity. FaZe has looked definitively better over these last couple of weeks, really since they put this roster together, finding themselves the 3-0 versus UYU, the 3-0 versus Luminosity, and then the 5-game set with OpTic here against Reciprocity. Scraps would come out hot, but Dylan would actually put a lot of his team on the back, doing 15 kills straight in the middle of the map on Hacienda Hardpoint. Johnny and Tommy, again, just kind of struggling, and no one really seems to be talking about it all that much. Dylan would do some incredible things, but it wasn't quite enough, as Zuma would pick it up near the end, and Zero continued to dominate, finding himself an 8-kill spree near the end of the map, and that would be Reciprocity falling in the first. To Arsenal, Search and Destroy. Again, Reciprocity starting off hot in the search. Zed goes on an early spree, finding himself a lightning strike after 2 rounds of gameplay. FaZe would go down 4-1, but Cellium would end up finishing this map with 18 total kills, as FaZe would pull this one out in round 11, 6-5. Gridlock control, easy clap, 3-0. Shawnee had a total of, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 kills. Not what you want to see. And my biggest question mark for Reciprocity simply comes down to, is it Wuskin who's going to be playing your ICR? Or is it Shawnee? Because in the last couple of weeks, they've both been going back and forth, and right now there seems to be a major identity crisis as far as what's happening in the AR line of Reciprocity. I wonder if Denz is able to pick up an AR and give it a go, because he's still on the bench, technically as a substitute, but the Reciprocity team does not look very good right now, if I'm being completely candid to you. FaZe Clan, though, does look relatively good, as they will finish their week 3-1 with 3 of their wins, all 3 of their wins, being 3-0s. Not bad. Reciprocity will finish their week off 1-2 with that Game 5 thriller versus Gen G yesterday. And, well, they've got a lot of work to do in my book if they want to come back in. Let's jump forward. EG, Gen G. Gen G would find a big lead on Evil Geniuses, but the Arsenal Hardpoint would end up swinging in favor of Evil Geniuses. They made a huge comeback off of Exotic getting 7 straight. They were about 60 points or so down, but this was the ending to the Arsenal Hardpoint.
The lightning strike, they're going to find Envoy. The clock is still ticking away. This could be it for Evil Geniuses. 20 for the win. They've got to make the play work. Here comes a Hellstorm as well. He's going to catch those players out in the middle of the map. Envoy, they managed to get inside elevators, but they're going to be held there for the time, and the time is still ticking. EG, 10 for the win now. One break is all it's going to take. The slam from App, they've got absolutely everything working in their favor. The clock is ticking. There is no one from Gen G as Evil Geniuses.
After that, it would go to stay. Well, we would stay on Arsenal, but we would go to Search and Destroy. And man, Gen G just cannot seem to close out maps today. They lose that hardpoint in dramatic fashion. Attach would earn full streaks, and really from there was no response whatsoever from Gen G to battle back. Even though Naga did find some kills here or there early with the sniper rifle, most of the rounds came from clutch plays out of individuals from Gen G, and it was not enough to pull out the W on the Search. So Evil Geniuses would be up 2-0, and then the Arsenal would be what we play on again for control, and well, it was a 3-0 for Evil Geniuses. Gen G, I don't know what to say about this team. There are so many moments where this team plays so freaking well, and I don't want to take anything away from Evil Geniuses, because they played masterfully today during the Search and Destroy and the control, and putting together that huge comeback on the Hardpoint, all of them happening on Arsenal. But for Gen G, I don't know what this is for you guys. Everyone seems to be playing pretty decent. They just are not rotating properly. They're not finding good Search and Destroy rounds. It's a mystery for me, and all bids are off on Gen G as far as what our expectations are for this team, because I want to believe this is a top 4 team, but after the performance this week, I don't know how anyone can actually realistically say that. They go 1-3. Their only win happening up against Midnight. They did take OpTic to 5. They lost to Rec in 5, but the 3-0 loss to Evil Geniuses really kind of leaves a taste in your mouth. Meanwhile, Evil Geniuses go 3-0 this week. 3-1, 3-1, 3-0. Granted, it was against UYU and LG to start, and now that we know how bad both of those teams are, maybe not as impressive, but the 3-0 win versus Gen G, is rather impressive. So good for them, good on them, as they will finish up and they will actually boost in the standings pretty considerably because of that. Let's jump on over to, though, our third matchup, Luminosity going up against Midnight. I had this one going 3-1 for Midnight, and well, I would be correct, but actually not, because this was a very easy set for Midnight. LG would start off strong on frequency hardpoint. Midnight would bounce back on the second rotation of Hills, and it would just come down to who can outlast the last couple of points on the third rotation. LG not quite up to the task. Midnight having a couple of great specialists in the end, not allowing Slack to get his slam off was huge, and they would not be able to get things moving forward, as Midnight would take the first hardpoint 250-225. Hacienda search and destroy. Saints went 14-3. LG not able to respond in any fashion. John went 1-8. Leave that information there for you, and then we would actually finish the set. Like I said, lots of 3-0s today. Finish the set with the Arsenal control. Saints would start off 10-3 in round number 1, getting full streaks. Lace would make this play twice on defense for the easy peasy, no problem. I love the grapple play on the Ruin player with a ICR with the NVIR with lightweight attached in his perks to get there first. Finds 4 kills, 2 defenses in a row. Insane. Midnight look very much so for real. 250, 225, 6-2, 3-1. Let's talk about this Midnight team very quickly. Again, they finish off their week at a 2-1 total. Not bad. The 0-3 loss to Gen G hurt. The 3-2 survive versus UYU is good, but the 3-0 here versus LG is great. They've got a tough schedule coming up next week, though, as they'll have to go up against FaZe, Reciprocity, Evil Geniuses, and OpTic. That's going to be tough and be a really good, I think, proving ground to see how good this Midnight team actually is, but very impressive for them. LG, well, throw it all away. They only won a single map this week. That was against Evil Geniuses, and it was on the control where they barely pulled that off. So for Luminosity, back to the drawing board and probably back to making some moves, because this was not a good week at all for them. And I don't see their week next week going any better, as we're going to have to go up against OpTic, Gen G, and Reciprocity. Yikes, they will have UYU, so that could be the battle of the bad in that one. Let's go ahead and just skip on forward, though. We've got OpTic and UYU. Speaking of, had this one as a 3-0 to OpTic without much of a question, and UYU would throw up a little bit of a fight, though. It would be a very close Hacienda hardpoint. Well, it was competitive. Well, it wasn't very close, but it was competitive. UYU not going away. But the way OG plays Hacienda in total is just too hard to really kind of battle up against, specifically as we would stay on Hacienda but go to the search and destroy, where it was all OpTic with these penetrating strats, and they have not played Hacienda search and destroy a lot lately, but I think they're going to find themselves some favor going here. TJ and Dashy found routine doubles to open up rounds, made things very, very easy, but the map control that OG had throughout the entirety of Hacienda, both on the hardpoint and the search, made it very difficult for UYU to come back. However, UYU would bounce back on the frequency control, as they would find themselves the one successful defense that was needed after we had offense for offense, offense for offense. Round 5 defense for UYU would hold strong. They would take the control 3-2, and again, that's by far the worst mode for OpTic and where they need to polish things off, but they had an opportunity to close this one out. Did not convert, so we would go to the next hard point, and in this one was just about as fast as it gets, 250-33. Ouch, dudes. That one definitely will keep you up at night, I think, if you're UYU. So as you take a look at what OpTic was able to do this week, of course, going undefeated, 3-2 over Gen G, 3-1 on against Reciprocity, 3-2 over FaZe, the 3-1 versus UYU, and UYU, even though they went 0-4, they technically had a better week than anything that LG was able to have, because they at least won a couple of maps. Tough looks, for sure. Let's take a look, though, at what our updated standings will look like because of this in Division A. OpTic will move into first place. A little bit of a flub at the end of the broadcast if you catch the post-game interview. OpTic has not secured anything for Anaheim or playoffs. The only thing they've secured so far is #1 in Division A. There are still 3 games that they have to play, though, coming up next week. Gen G, of course, will slide down to the 2nd spot. Midnight still in the running. Again, they're enjoying that win-loss ratio that the first roster ended up giving them, which was like 7-2 or something like that, and they're holding strong. FaZe Clan also improving just a touch. Evil Geniuses will bounce up from dead last to 5th. in the division. That's not bad at all, sitting at 5-9, tied with Rec and Luminosity, but holding the tiebreaker against both of those teams. And then UIU will slip down to the bottom. Next week, we will get Division B. I will be doing a video that kind of breaks down all of the setup for the week. I also have power rankings coming very soon, and all of my graphics are done, and they look sexy as hell for the betting breakdown segment that I have coming up. I'll be doing a full little reveal trailer on what to expect for that in a separate video that I hope will catch some traction, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there, whether you're here for the first time or you've been here, that would love a little bit of advice as far as what's a favorable betting line, what should I bet, what shouldn't you bet, and how you could potentially make a little bit of cash. I had a pretty solid week, actually, in the betting department, but we'll keep that for another conversation. That's been it for me, though. I'll catch you guys with the power rankings and the Week 8 setup coming up in just a touch. But beyond that, until next time, hope you keep holding it down. So long.